Hey guys, it's GHP, and welcome back to another deck tech video. Today we're going to be looking at a deck that I've really enjoyed since the newest set, and that's VodaCombo. Which is basically a deck, for those of you who've never seen this, as I know there are people who haven't, that revolves around Vodakhan Temple Speaker. As an engine you need to have in play, and then you can use Marshal, Ironthorn, Mystic Ascendant, and Voice of the Speaker in order to play lots of power, draw lots of cards, and basically turbo through your deck. And you kind of end the turn with like 30-ish maximum power sometimes when you go off, where you could just cast these great parliaments that kill your opponent on the spot and things like that. So it's just an over-the-top style of Combrei, or big Combrei. Now with the newest set, we got some new additions that I think have made this deck significantly better. We've got Crest of Progress, which helps the consistency, especially where you play more power, you play the third Find the Way, which I'm not entirely sure is right yet, by the way, we'll talk about that after. The Crest of Progress helps you not flood, because this deck does this sometimes, and the market is a big deal. But we also got the Merchant, which is probably the best card in the set. I think this is better than the Teacher, because every time deck wants 4 of these, basically, regardless of the type. Chalice wants it, Mask wants it, all the time mid-range decks wants it. I don't know if there's a time deck that doesn't want it, really. It's just so good. And it gives us access to a lot of consistency. So, let's jump into the deck. The first thing I'm going to talk about, since I just mentioned it, is the power fetchers. So Find the Way is great, and right now I'm currently playing this, but one card I want to consider is Lingering Influence. I haven't toyed with this card yet at all in this deck, so this is the one thing I'm not sure about, is if I want to play Lingering Influence over Find the Way, as it has the Scout. Find the Way gets you more power, but Lingering Influence combos with Voice of the Speaker are a lot easier, and I could just tilt the deck to have extra time sources, which I already kind of have done. So this is probably something I could just do for free. So this is kind of up to you guys, what you want to do. I think they're both really good options, and I'm just not sure yet of what I want to do. This isn't something I've thought a lot about yet, this part. So this is something that I'm going to test more, and I'll update and talk to you guys about this at some point. Back to the deck. So, our power base is 11 dual lands, because we have 1 on our market. 4 Ember Waystone, because this deck has issues with aggro, and this can really help, especially when you play them with Ironthorn, and then 10 Sigils. It's a pretty basic power base, and then we have our 4 Seeks and 3 Find the Ways, putting us at 32 power sources. 33 if we want to include the one on the market. And I think this is the right number. Basically, regular Combrei plays one less Find the Way, and that's because they don't want to flood too hard, but Find the Way combos with Vodakhan, as if you play Seek, Find the Way, or pull the banner out of the market, they actually just draw those cards. So you can play Seek power, the power goes into play automatically, and then you draw another card. You draw another power, you keep going. So that's kind of one of the benefits here. So you want to have that extra Find the Way or Seek power. You often hold it in your hand once you get to the late game. So if you draw the Vodakhan. So going through the rest of the deck, 3 Desert Marshal, because I want the 4th in here. Desert Marshal is just a great card. I could see it going down to 2 main plus the 3rd one here if I wanted, say, the 4th Vodakhan. But we have 4 Temple Scribe, early blocker, and it also has the extra benefit of A, being good against aggro, and B, comboing with Vodakhan. Anything that says draw is good. Then we have Voice of the Speaker. Sorry, I have a dry cough. And Voice of the Speaker not only helps you in your value game, where this deck really does want to hit all of its land drops, or power drops, sorry. But this card comboing with Vodakhan often goes deep in the deck. So if I have Voice out, I play Vodakhan and cast Seek power, I'll draw 2 power, and draw 2 power will go into play, and then I'm going to draw 2 cards. If either of them are a power, then every power I draw will draw me 2 cards, because it will get echoed. So it's a really nice combo, and plus this card's just fine for making sure you hit your power. Then we have Aurelia Merchant, maybe the best card in the deck. Ramping is really nice, and just getting access to cards like Stand Together that you don't really want to draw, or Desert Marshal on the fly, or ways to carve out with Worldbearer. I'll talk more about the market once we finish these, but this card has just made the deck so much more consistent and so much more powerful. We have Siraf as it's just an amazing Combrei unit, and it's something great to use our power on. It's not hard to hit 11 and just cast this and ult it in the same turn. Then we have Valkyrie Enforcer, one of the best mid-range units in the game. One of the appeals to playing Combrei cards is your silence effects, and I don't see myself wanting to trim on this. If the meta becomes more fire aggro based, this might be the card that goes down if I still want to play the Vodakhans for Combrei healer, but generally speaking, this is one of the better cards at just keeping you alive. Titan, because this deck has issues with flyers, and it's just a good mid-range body. It's not like this deck can't beat you down, it doesn't have to combo. 3 Ironthorn instead of 4, because they're really a 6-drop, and they don't do a ton to the board sometimes, and it's just less impactful than the other top-end sometimes, but there are tons of games with this deck where you actually just play this and build towards the ultimate. It's not a hard thing to do, and it's great with Vodakhan, Worldbearer, Mystic Ascendant, so all the other top-end. Worldbearer, it gets us closer to our top end, and combos with Ironthorn and Ascendant, plus it's good for our beatdown plan. 3 Mystic Ascendant, because they're really, really, really clunky sometimes. There's a lot of games where I draw 2 of them and put 1 in the market. There was 1 in this market for a long time, but I swapped it for the Worldbearer Behemoth. And then I'm on 2 Voda plus 1 in the market, because flooding on Vodas is really bad. They don't do anything special in multiples besides just be a big body. We got 3 Vanquish, and we're playing Vanquish over the Vanquish weapon, Vanquisher's Blade, which has Spellcraft 3 play Vanquish, because A, we're pretty good against the graveyard decks with all of our silence, so we don't really care about that line, and B, we want to go like Vanquish plus spell in a turn. Like, imagine turn 6, I go Ironthorn, Power, Vanquish. That's a huge tempo swing turn, where I now developed a threat that you have to kill because it's going to keep ramping me. I killed your threat, so I had a great turn, and that happens a lot. And then 3 great Parliament, because they're not great until you at least get 2 owls, but they're a great payoff and I want to be able to find them. This is the card you could consider putting in the market. Speaking of the market, I put 1 banner here, instead of putting a sigil here, because sometimes it's hard to turn on Vodakhan being triple, and I want to put banner here as it's the worst of my dual lands. Desert Marshal, because sometimes I just need to fetch this card. Sometimes games come down to, can I find the silence effect, and this is a better one in here because of its cost and Enforcer. Stand Together is not a card I really want to main deck right now, but sometimes you play against control decks and it's very easy to hold up the meta later on, so sometimes getting Merchant and just holding up this for the rest of the game is viable. Worldbearer Behemoth is only here because of going turn 3 Merchant, turn 4 Worldbearer is very, very powerful, so sometimes I just want to be able to get a mid-range threat. Vodakhan's here because I don't want to have multiple in my hand at any point, and sometimes I have the whole combo except for Vodakhan, and sometimes I simply need to find the Vodakhan to get me through, say, a mid-range board stall. Overall, I think this list is really good. I think this deck is pretty good into a lot of things right now. It's not great into fire aggro, but Merchant helps because of its body and consistency that it gets you. And then that's a matchup where you can like tuck away your Vodakhans often. We're pretty good into most time decks as we go over the top of them. The one thing we don't do as well as other time decks is we don't go like turn 1 Initiate, turn 2 Merchant, turn 3 Worldbearer, turn 4 Carno. We don't do that much explosiveness. We're a lot more consistent in our game plan. Which is just going over the top of you eventually. But if you play against time decks and they don't have that type of draw, where we're both just kind of casting our spells fairly, we win the vast majority of the time, because not only do we have better removal than most time decks, we also just scale better. Most time decks don't play Mystic Ascendant, because they're playing Carnosaur and either like Heart of the Vault, or the new 6-mana 8/8. We actually have Ascendant, which is a phenomenal card in those matchups, so there's not a ton of removal. One other thing we could sometimes have issues with is Zenith Initiation, but Desert Marshal does a ton in those times, and if you're like, the only way I'm losing is Desert Marshal, you can just go grab your Desert Marshal from here and hold it up. And Vodakhan just goes over the top, plus Ironthorn ult. We're phenomenal against control because we're super, super threat dense, and the market just lets us get Stand Together if we need it. So overall, I really like this deck, and it's a deck that's kind of been a pet deck for me for a long time. But either way, guys, let's jump into some games with the first version of VodaCombo with set 4.